Family, this is the old school traveler. I'm back. Just got back from Los Angeles. Let me tell you something about Los Angeles. You got places that got great food. Great food. No matter where you go, you see good food. No matter what you get into, you see good food. And it's not just in one part of the city. Like most downtowns, they always got the high end, what I call the overpriced food because you're paying for the real estate. But let me tell you about Los Angeles, though. Los Angeles is a city that's probably as diverse as you can get in the United States or even worldwide. It is, Los Angeles got a little everything. But I'm here to tell you about the bad and the good before I get to the food. First of all, you got perfect weather in Los Angeles almost every single day. I mean, perfect weather. It doesn't get cold. It doesn't get too hot. Now, you do have your spell where it gets about 85, 90 degrees, but, that's nothing because, in LA, you're always going to have the coast. You're always going to have the wind off the water. So you're never going to feel like 90 degrees is 90 degrees. But I didn't experience any of that the last week I was in Los Angeles, the last week. No. Now, let me tell you about the bad part about Los Angeles. The homeless is out of control. It's ridiculous. The homeless in LA is just bad, bad, bad. It's just one of those things that they got to figure out what to do about the homeless in LA. They got to figure it out. I'm not sure what they can do about it, but they got to do something because they got the Olympics coming up in a couple of years. Yeah, they got the Olympics in 2028. They got to solve that problem. Traffic is as bad as it can be in the world. Traffic do not move. The interstates and freeways are just really parking lots. Parking lots with moving traffic. It's just bad. And public transportation is not an option. It don't exist in LA. It don't exist nowhere in LA. No, you can't get around the city. That's the sad part about it. You cannot get around the city. And I would like to be able to tell you that it exists because LA got a lot of places to see. I mean, a lot of places to see. They got museums. They got, they got all kind of monuments. They got all kind of things you can see. And the city, and it's located in that huge valley, out in California, which is pretty as hell. Now, is LA a city that anybody can make it? Yes, they can. Yes, they can. You can start with zero and make it in LA. And I don't mean just movie stars or people who want to be movie stars or influencers or whatever you have. No, it's not LA. Anybody can make it in LA. You got an idea? LA is the place for you. You got a dream? LA can make it come true. It all depends on you and how much, and how hard you work. But LA got a little everything. Yeah, you're gonna love LA. And like I said, and the people, I'm not sure who's from LA because it's hard to tell. You got your little enclaves like Beverly Hills, Hollywood, and all the other stuff, which is kind of cool. And like I said, it's something to see and do every day, all day. LA got a problem of crime, but the crime is a lot less than it used to be back in the 80s and 90s when I first started going out to LA. But like I said, being homeless is not a crime. It just means that you had some bad turns in life or you choose to do that. It's just your choice. So as far as diverse, I don't know what cultures and races LA do not have. I don't know. LA got everything. Now, the one thing LA do not have, they don't have public transportation. And, I'm not sure how a cop would even get to the scene of a crime. Traffic is just, traffic is actually faster on the streets, the city streets, than it is on the freeway. Traffic is actually faster. So that's kind of sad because you go out there and you really, really, really want to see the vibrancy of LA. Now, let's talk about the food. Oh, buddy. what kind of food do you want? If you want it, LA got 10 restaurants that serves it. Me personally, it's two types of food. It's two types of food that I like a lot when I go to LA. Persian food, love Persian food. LA got the best outside of Iran. They got a lot of Persians, but their food is off the chain. And I like Mexican food, not Tex-Mex, Mexican food. Because you sit there and you struggle between the Mexican food, the Persian food, and a great food truck environment. LA got all that. And you're not going to find any bad food in LA. They got Korean food. They got Koreatown. They got Korean food. You name it. The only food that really LA, I didn't see a lot of it, but is they had comfort food. They got Roscoe's chicken and waffles and all that kind of stuff. They have all that stuff, but that stuff is overrated. Chicken and waffles, that's an old Southern menu. You can get fried chicken anywhere. Now, the one thing about LA is that service in restaurants is not great. No one seems to be in a hurry. No one seems to be in a hurry to bring you your food. No. LA is totally different when it comes to being in a hurry. I guess the traffic to make sure that we're not going to rush. But as far as the food goes, the food is probably my second favorite city, if not my first. I debate all the time between Chicago and LA. But here's the thing. I'm going to New York this week. And I'm going to put New York to the test because Chicago is just off the chains. Chicago is totally off the chains when it comes to food. LA is at the same level. Might be a little bit above because, LA, if you find a good restaurant, it might be 2 or 3 from the same, not really chain, because I don't do a lot of chain foods. But, the big thing down there everybody brags about is like In-N-Out Burger. I can get a burger anywhere. And how good is good on a burger? You got Five Guys, but the big one out there is the In-N-Out chain. I'm not a fan of that place because, when you go out with younger people, they tend to focus on the wrong shit. They focus on the wrong shit when it comes to food. Yeah, young people focus on the wrong thing. Oh, they got great dinosaur fries. Okay, you got fries with cheese on them. Okay, I make that. Everybody I know makes that. That's nothing special about that. They got special sauce. Yeah, it's called Thousand Island. So people get overexcited about little things when it comes to the LA food scene. Now, the one thing LA have better than most cities by far, they got a great bar scene. In other words, the nightlife in LA is off the chain. I love the LA nightlife because no matter what it is you want to do, you can do. And you can do it without a fear of crime or people bothering you. You got all that. Some reason the homeless disappears at night. I'm not sure. Not in San Francisco, not in Seattle. They are right where you are at night, no matter where you are. But in LA, they tend to all disappear from the, you still got them on the boulevard, Hollywood Boulevard and all that kind of stuff. And one thing about LA too, though, is that you can find a place to park. I used to worry about city parking, but you can find a place to park. It's not too bad. You're going to pay for it unless you get a meter and get lucky. Now, you won't find much street parking. Now, I'm not saying that, but you'll find a parking lot because LA got like 5,000 arenas. They got all kind of places to park at and stuff. And you can always find a place near one of the food trucks too. I mean, I really enjoy the food trucks because the food trucks is so diverse. Now, talking about LA food, you do have places that has that California food. In other words, guacamole and avocado in every damn thing. I'm not a fan of either one, but they have them in, they offer it with every meal for every kind of reasons, and they charge you a lot for it. Now, I stayed at Embassy Suites at the airport, and I paid about $160 a night. Now, you can get places a lot cheaper in LA because LA do have some cheaper hotels, but I stayed near the airport, so it was all right there. I had no problems or issues, and I actually, as long as I drove down city streets and stuff, I didn't really see a lot of issues, a lot of problems. I didn't see any of that while I was there. And I actually went down most of the streets, no problem. Traffic moves because when the light turns green, everybody goes. And it was no crazy driving. The one thing they do kind of strange, but when the light turns red, everybody in LA, everybody does it. 2 additional cars go on the red light after it turns red, not before it turns green or before it turns red. Once it turns red, 2 cars go. Once you see that a couple of times, you're all right. You're all right. No big deal there. But once you make your mind up that you want to go see the amusement parks, which I didn't do because there's so many things to see in LA that a week don't do it justice. A week don't do it justice. I was not going to Disney World and Orange County and other places. And LA is spread the hell out. It is spread out. It's a very, very big city land-wise, and everybody knows it's got a lot of people. It's got a lot of people in LA. LA is the second or third biggest city in America, but it's probably the second biggest metro area in America. It's got people, and you gotta see them. But crime is low. We're not really low. Yeah, it is kind of low compared to most other cities of that size. It's not bad. You don't hear a lot of things. Didn't see a lot of police. You got some huge hospitals. And if you are a person who likes to drive and look at nice houses, don't go to LA. LA and Beverly Hills, you're going to see expensive houses. Expensive houses and nice houses are 2 different things because California is very, very, very expensive. What we would call a regular house, you go to LA, that same house would be like, $3 or $4 million. And all the houses are built to have multiple families in one house. And everybody got their house gated up. I don't like that feeling. When I see gated up houses, who are they gating themselves up from? Is it crime? Or is it just the neighbors? I mean, I don't know. But it is definitely one of those kind of cities that a lot of things are gated. The thing about it, if you commit a crime in LA, it's not like you can drive away fast from the crime. Traffic's going to slow your ass up, and the person you just robbed or whatever you did to them probably can run you down. He probably can run you down and catch you. But let's one thing about California that is very polarizing is that politics is on everybody's mind. Politics is on everybody's mind. I don't get into politics for the most part. It is what it is. Yeah, I get one vote, you get one vote, vote for whoever you think is going to help you, and I do the same thing. I don't care who you vote for. I don't get into trying to influence somebody on who's the right person for them. Only you know who's the right person for you. So if you ever get a chance to go to LA, don't miss that opportunity. I ate at 21 different places, and they don't have as many diners as, say, San Francisco or, farther up north. But I did do a lot of driving around, and I found Mel's Diners and a few other places and stuff. And the prices wasn't too bad. But remember this, LA and California in general, taxes are very high. I'm talking about taxes on your food when you eat at a restaurant, and it's very, very high. But at the same time, LA got all the typical mom and pop type foods you want. I just couldn't find no bad food. I just couldn't find no bad food. It is what it is. I couldn't find any. And I went into the hood. I went into the upscale places. I couldn't find none. I tried a lot of food trucks out because a food truck, they're kind of pricey because you spend like $16, $17 on a sandwich and a fry and a drink. And, or 3 or 4 tacos. And the tacos in LA seem smaller than the tacos anywhere else. I did notice that. But I'm going to try out, this upcoming week. I'm giving New York a shot and see what New York got for me. I'm going to be there for more than a week. So I should maybe go some nice places more than a week. But out doing, it's just that the diversity in LA is just totally different. You name any kind of food in the world you want, they got it there. That was the beauty of it. And the people, for the most part, keep to themselves. I didn't get a vibe that because, I had a camera in my hand, I didn't get this vibe that I was doing something wrong or bothering somebody. In the video, you see me driving all through LA. I'm just going, Wilshire Boulevard is a nice big wide road, like most roads out west. And on that street, I must have ate 3 or 4 different type of foods from different cultures. I must have did that. And now here's another part about LA I don't like, and maybe this is a California thing. They have oil wells in the middle of the damn city. Who in the hell does that? I mean, California got their own rules on gas mileage and and how cars should be polluting and all this other stuff. And it is definitely a car-centric city. LA is a car city, and like I said earlier, they are a car city because there is no public transportation. They got elevated trains that seem like they don't go anywhere, and seem like they're tents for the homeless. LA got all that kind of stuff. But as far as going east to west, north to south, I guess it's doable. But I wasn't going to try it because I didn't see anything that I thought was worthwhile that the train went to where I wanted to go. I didn't see any place I wanted to go and the train was going there. Seemed like the train just go to anywhere. Because when you go to Hollywood and Beverly Hills, you don't see any trains at all. You don't see no public transportation. I didn't see any, let alone trains. I didn't see any buses. They had a few buses downtown. But for the most places, most places that I wanted to go to, if I went to Hollywood, they had these buses, these tour type buses that took you around. But I didn't see a hop on, hop off, and none of that kind of stuff. Generally, hop on, hop off buses, they go a little everywhere. But I didn't see any of that in LA. No, and that's why I'm wondering about the Olympics when they come to Southern California. I just don't see that being a win-win-win for any damn body. I don't know how you even gonna get around the city, let alone thousands of people moving every day around the city. I don't see how that's gonna work. But I'm gonna be honest about it. I'm going back to Los Angeles when the Olympics start, and probably there when they end. That's one of those once in a lifetime things that I'm gonna do. Yeah, so I don't know how it's gonna work, but I'll figure it out and I'll make it work. Because there's no like one hotel you can stay at and you can walk to all the events. Nope, I'm gonna be in that mess and complaining about it from day one. I'm gonna be right in that mess. Now, LA is very, very, like I said, it's very diverse, but everybody, depending upon you and your situation, live in a certain part of the city. You got the blacks down there in the Compton area and maybe a little Long Beach. You got the whites in the enclaves in Beverly Hills and Hollywood and other places. You got the Koreans in Koreatown. You got the Persians who think they're wealthy, all down there near Wilshire Boulevard. So, everybody got a part of the town. You got the Hispanics in East LA. You got a few of them, in the southern part of LA, but mostly in East LA. And then you got all the immigrants from other cities around America and around the world living all over LA. They go where they go where they can afford the rent. Yeah, they go where they can afford the rent. Because like I said, LA is not cheap. LA prices are up there near New York prices, which is about 20% above Washington D.C. prices. And it could be that the wages are very, very high. I don't think so. Seems like everybody got a second hustle. I was talking to people. It seemed like everybody got more than one job. But that's just LA. I lived in other cities where everybody got more than one job. But if that's what's going to pay your bills, that's what's going to pay your bills. So my whole point is LA is a first-class city around the world. It's not as clean as Miami downtown. No, nothing like that. It's not as clean as Chicago downtown. But it's not a dirty city either. It's not like Rome, Italy when I went there. You got trash, junk, and pickpocketers everywhere. The homeless don't bother you for the most part. And like I said earlier, LA is a city that if you ever get a chance to go there more than once, because you're never going to see everything in 1 week. LA is a big city. You're never going to see anything. And I think that one thing that slows you down to see everything in 1 week is the lack of being able to get around very fast. You can't do that in LA. You go to LA, you enjoy it, you have fun with it, but take your time, because you can't rush. It's just not possible, but it's so many places to see. And I'm not talking about just stuff you see on TV. They got a lot of other places that you want to see that you don't see on TV at all. They don't get the publicity. They don't get the publicity that some of the other places get, like the Hollywood sign, downtown. Well, not downtown, but in Hollywood itself. But also in LA, one of the coolest things to do, you can people watch as long as you want. They got a lot of great places to people watch, and they got beaches. They got the sun, the beach, people watch, and it's a car-centric city, so they love their cars. People in Los Angeles love their cars. It's not like when you go up to Silicon Valley and everybody got a damn electric vehicle. It's not. They got real cars. I'm talking about cars that you got to put some fossil fuel into. They got real cars. So LA is world class. You need to go there. Ain't nothing, like I said, every city got its bad part, but LA is a lot of good parts, all over the city. So this is the old school traveler telling you, check out LA.